All right, got it. Welcome, guys. We've got a fun lesson today, and a great book with it too. Um, let's see if this will load. So everyone should be on the Nearpod. I sent it in the chat. Nearpod's it's going to make the lesson really fun because it's very interactive. Today we're kind of talking about success and the path to success. We all want to be successful at everything that we do. However, that isn't always the case. Raise of hands, who here has ever failed at least one time in their life? Yes, definitely. Like, who here has failed more than one time on things that they even the things that they try at. Um, and that's okay because that's just life. All of us have failed. All of us will fail at some other point too. That's just how it works. Not getting something right the first time doesn't mean that you're never going to get it right. It just means you don't get it right the first time, which it happens for, I feel like most things. We don't get them automatically right. What we're trying to talk about today is that it is so important to have a growth mindset and to be ready to problem solve and to think critically. We may not get things right the first time, but as long as we have that growth mindset and that ability to not give up, we're gonna get those things done. So, hopefully you should be on the Nearpod, but if it doesn't work, you can post this just in the chat. I want you to type a time when you may not have gotten something right the first time, but after you've worked hard at it or you've problem solved at it, you ended up succeeding. Now, you might not be able to think of a time right away. So instead, you could answer with something that you want to improve at or something you want to be really good at, but you know that it's going to take work and it's going to take effort and you're not going to be the very best at it right away. So you can type either one of those. Hey, nice. Yeah, those star tester, those are effort. Oh, I feel like we all feel like that. It's so hard. Yes. Yes, playing new games, absolutely. For me, I remember I played volleyball from middle school, high school, club, and then college. And I remember when I was in middle school and just starting out, I was still tall, and so at one of these weekend club like camps. I was put on this higher team and then they saw me play and I got moved down to a different team. Um, and now I worked at it, worked really hard. And I was to the point where people would be like, "Oh my goodness, you're just so naturally good at volleyball." And I was like, "No, no, it's not natural. It's that hard work. It's all those extra things that you do, which is what how you get to these greater places." Okay, today we are going to learn this lesson of trying hard and not giving up, but from Jabari. In this book, Jabari Tries. I'm not sure if you've read a Jabari book. There's also Jabari Jumps, which is another excellent one. This is by Gaia Cornwall. And let's get started. Some Jabari Tries. And right here, in this section, it says, "For all the Jabaris, young and old, in name and in spirit, some of whom I've been lucky enough to connect with personally, and for my cousins who will be practically grown by the time they read this, first there was Dante and then quickly after Aiden." So let's see about Jabari. "I'm making a machine today," Jabari told his dad. "Wow," said his dad. "Me," said Nika. "My machine will fly all the way across the yard," said Jabari. "It'll be easy. I don't need any help." Jabari built an excellent ramp. He put his flying machine at the very top. Whoosh, around, up it went, and crash! His machine did not fly. "Maybe it's too heavy," said Jabari. "Me," said Nika. "Not now, Nika," said Jabari. "I am concentrating." I need something to make my machine go up. He thought about how inventors have to use their creativity and how engineers and scientists work to solve problems, like Lewis Howes Laitmer, Dr. Flosia Wong Stahl, Roy Alela, and Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson. Jabari gathered up all his tools, he prepared his space, he sketched and planned. I think the ramp has to be big, Jabari said, really big. Lots of problem solving. After a lot of building and stacking and hammering and sticking, Jabari was ready. Me, said Nika. Nika, don't, you'll break it. Zip, flip, swoosh, around, up, smash. You know, I bet Nika would love to help you out, said his dad. Jabari looked at Nika. I don't need any help, he said. What if you thought of her more like a partner, said his dad. Lots of great inventors have partners. Me, said Nika. Well, try it out, said Jabari. Maybe we need more power, Nika, said Jabari. The engineers mixed and measured. Me, said Nika. Jabari handed his partner a stirring spoon tool. Trickle, pour, twist, turn, buzz, bubble, pop, fizz, pow! Bash! Ah, nothing is working! His chest felt tight, and his neck felt like a sunburn. Jabari wanted to cry. He took a tiny rest. Hey, said his dad, I see you're really upset. I'm frustrated, said Jabari. It looks like a frustrating problem, said his dad. When I'm frustrated, I gather up all my patience, take a deep breath, and blow away all the mixed feelings inside. And then you try again, said Jabari. And then I try again, said his dad. Jabari gathered up all his patience. He closed his eyes. He took a deep breath. He blew away all his muddy feelings. His body calmed down. He felt his brain start to work better. Nika squeezed his hand. Let's try again, said Jabari. The partners thought and thought and thought together. Me, said Nika. That's it, Nika, said Jabari. Maybe we need better wings. They cut and glued and shaped and tied. Tinker, twist, snap, snip. Nika found the launch spot. Jabari held the flying machine up, pulled back, and whoosh, up, flying. Whee, said Nika. You did it, said his dad. We did it, said Jabari. It went all the way across the yard. We're great engineers. We, said Nika. And guess what? What, said his dad. Rocket to Jupiter is next. Me, said Nika. And that is Jabari tries. So fun story, and he's ready for the next one too. So today we are going to take a piece of what Jabari did, both on what he was building and also his patience and him not giving up and trying it a bunch of different ways. And we are going to build paper airplanes. So if you don't have a piece of paper, hopefully you can find one really quick around your room. And right now you're gonna have just 1 to 2 minutes to just build a paper airplane any way that you'd like. I imagine you guys have some prior knowledge on how paper airplanes are built, but if you don't, it's okay because we're building more than one today. And then once you're finished, if you can just write a number 1 on the airplane to help us keep track of which one is which. No, just put a minute timer. All right, does anyone still need more time? Because that was just a minute. Still, we good? Okay, all right. So we are going to throw our paper airplanes together and you're just gonna leave it where it lands because we're gonna see the difference of how far they go. So see if you can find a good space. Sorry. And yes, please toss it across the room. Oh, mine went very not far. Would anyone like to comment on how far theirs went?
I think mine fell all of 1 foot.
I
Similar.
got 3 or 4,
Yeah,
3 or 4
same.
feet.
Yeah, okay, okay. Not terrible. It didn't go backwards. So
It's
we're
true.
not bad. Okay. So let's learn the small, tiny little science lesson. Of course, even with paper airplanes, there is a little bit of science behind it. There's these kind of four forces of flight with science. So hopefully if we learn about this, it might help us with ideas on how to build the airplane. So the first thing is lift. When you are building an airplane, the little wings, and I wish I didn't throw mine, the little wings of the airplane help the airplane rise in the air, and that is due to lift. So if you have tiny little wings, it's not going to lift very far because it's not helping it hold up the air and kind of push the air down. So that's why you want to have bigger wings on your airplanes, not tiny little pieces. For weight, that's a common word. The weight of the airplane is where the gravity is pulling the airplane down down to the ground. Luckily, an airplane is just a piece of paper, so it doesn't weigh that much. But if you try to make a paper airplane with 2 pieces of paper, then that means there's going to be more weight and it's going to pull down faster. For thrust, for paper airplanes, the thrust is actually your arm. So you throwing the airplane is the thrust of the airplane. For things like rockets, that's more of the engine, but for airplanes, it's your arm. And then for the drag, this is the friction of the air. So who here has ever stuck their hand out a car window while someone's driving? What happens to your hand? Like, let's say if you stuck it here, does anyone kind of know what happens when, like, yeah, it kind of pushes your whole arm back. If you, instead of sticking it like this, when you turn it like this, does it still push your arm that way as hard? No, yeah, you get that more.
Yeah.
Yes, this. We've all lived that same childhood life. Yes. That is the drag. So when you're making a paper airplane, when you have a smaller point, when you are like this instead of like this, you are able to go further and you're able to have less drag. That's why we throw the airplane with the point first instead of the other side, because that point is helping us cut through the friction of the air. So again, we want big wings so it pushes the air down, helps lift the plane up. We want it to be just a paper weight because that any more will bring it down. You want to have a good thrust with your arm, and then of course you need a small point for the start of your airplane because of drag. All right, so let's look at these airplanes. I will say all four of these airplanes are actually usable. But does anyone want to tell me anything they're noticing about these four airplanes? Like, of all these, which one do you think might be the fastest?
The third one,
Yeah,
I
it's
feel
the
like
longest and skinniest.
left to
yes,
right.
yes, yeah, I feel like absolutely that one will be very fast because there is a lot less drag because it's so thin. Which one do you think might glide the best, as in just be able to stay up in the air? And hint, it has something to do with like lift.
Maybe number 4.
Yes, that is it seems like it wouldn't work because there is It's not a point, but even though it is still flat in the bottom, that's called a hang glider paper airplane. So those hang more in the air because of their bigger wings. And then our first two are very similar to the usual paper airplanes that we make. So we are going to make a second airplane. I'm going to leave these on here. I want you to think now, this one's going to be more of an experimental airplane. I want you to think now how you can maybe make your airplanes more pointy and or give them bigger wings, because either you are going to make it pointy to go faster and hopefully get farther, or bigger wings to just stay up in the air to go far enough. And I'll give you a minute and 20 seconds.
Do we need to write a number 2 on this one?
Yeah, I would. If they're all the same paper, easier for you. Okay. When you've got your airplane, you can hold it up. It has been a minute and 20. Awesome. You guys are so fast. Excellent paper airplane makers. Ooh, they're looking good too. Okay. Does anyone, before we throw it, does anyone want to comment on anything they may have done differently this time than the first one?
I made the wings smaller and I made it the whole thing slimmer.
Ooh.
I did the
Okay.
same.
All right, they're going for slim and fat.
Instead of folding it the same way I always do, I flipped it
Mhm.
and it like longer versus taller, if that makes sense.
Like a hamburger?
So yeah, so I usually make them like this way, but I folded it or I flipped it and then made it that way instead.
That's very cool. I really like that. All right, well, let's see how they do compared to the first one. So go back in your places and throw. 3, 2, 1, go. Oof.
Better.
How how was it? Mine was just maybe went a little bit steadier, but just about the same amount. What about you guys?
Mine took a nosedive.
Mine
Yeah.
went further, but I'm not nearly as good as some of the boys in the class.
Yeah, the real professionals.
Uh-huh.
Mine was way worse. It did worse than
No,
I
well, that was no worries. The whole like lesson of this is to try, not necessarily to get it right. Jabari didn't even get it right on his first, second, or third try. All right, we are going to now. This is our third paper airplane, and if you remember in the book, Jabari had lots of. Let me see if I move this. Sorry. Recommendations. He had suggestions from his sister and from his dad to help him. And those suggestions absolutely helped him make that flying craft. So we are going to watch a video and we're going to fold the paper airplane like them. If you don't follow perfectly, that's okay, but I think your paper airplane will look a lot better and will go a lot farther if you do manage to follow along. So while the video is playing, I'm going to be talking through it because I don't want you guys to miss anything. I'm going to start it on, let me see if I can have students play first. Will it work? No, I'm gonna do it on mine. Okay, I'm gonna try it on Teacher's Play. I just hope it's not too glitchy. I will say he starts by folding it hot dog style, if you guys know that. Oop, there it is. Going off. How far it goes. If you can see, it goes very far. So maybe this can be ours. And that it's consistently far too. Okay, so he starts it off by folding hot dog style, like I said. And if you see, he is very, he makes sure that his lines are very straight. I don't know why it started over. Right, so he folds it hot dog style, he flips it over and folds it hot dog style the other way. And he just makes sure that line is really like good and straight on there. And then he folds a triangle on the corner. That's another usual start. And make sure that it's nice and straight. And then we're gonna fold another triangle in that corner. Just make sure the edges are very nice and crisp. And now we've got like a tall house. And then we're gonna fold another triangle, a really tall triangle. And if anyone needs me to stop, I will stop. I'm not sure if I can slow down, but I can definitely stop and restart. So we're just folding that really tall triangle, and then we're gonna take the other side and fold another really tall triangle into it, just to make sure that the top is really pointy. Okay. And then if you saw, he took it and he's just making sure it's straight. Yeah. And then he's going to flip it over and he's going to take the point and bring it right to the end. It was on the it's on that side, bring it right to the end. And he's just nice and straighten it out. Okay. This is kind of a harder part to see. He takes it and he folds it. So this is the point. Sorry, this is the point. He folds it this way. Folds it this way. So this was our little house. Closes it and folds it this way, and then folds the sides. Let me start the little side parts. He has it so this is the tall house. He folds it in, folds it closed. These are all our folds, folds it like that. And then he takes the top, so the smaller, this is the bottom, this is the top piece, and he folds that top piece down. And I'll play that again. This is just like the hardest fold on there to see. That. Folds it down. So that's the corner right. Well, that's the corner and he folds it down. And then he takes the other side and he folds that corner down. And again, he's just making it nice and straight. and sturdy. And then he opens it back up, and now you'll have kind of a that corner, and that corner. And he takes his piece. Let's restart that. Mistake. So he has all these corners. And then he lifts up the big triangle, folds it back to the top. So now the big triangle is on top. He's again making sure all his pieces are very nice and straight. I'm not as straight as his. And then he folds it closed. And then he starts to fold the wings too. My paper is so much smaller than his. I'm gonna redo that one part. So he opens, sorry. He had pulled up the triangle. Now he is straightening it to look more like an actual airplane. And now he is folding the sides to again resemble more of an actual airplane. So it's kind of another triangle fold, but it's the whole big side. So your airplane should have a very small head and very big wings right now. And there is more, but this is actually where we're gonna stop because I tested this, and if your airplane kind of looks like where it looked right there, then it's good to go. Okay. All right. Write a number 3 on this airplane, and let's hope she goes far. All right, let's throw. Oh, so much better. Good, good. Okay. Please share how far that one went. Was that one better, hopefully?
Yes, it ran into the door. It probably would have gone further, but my door's closed.
Oh, good.
I
Good.
think
Yeah.
mine fell back behind some furniture.
Oh, good. Better than 1 foot.
Yeah.
MK, yours too?
Yeah, it went way farther.
Oh, good. Okay. Yeah, and that shows you just like Jabari taking help or constructive criticism is always a great way to grow yourself and to learn and to get better at something. We definitely learned some new folds with that paper airplane. And also I'm so glad that ours all went better than before. I mean, no matter what, even if it didn't go as good as we were hoping, it took Jabari much more than 3 tries to figure out his rocket. What matters is that you're learning, you're putting in effort, you're trying. That's where we're doing this. So you already answered this. I don't know if this is going to load for you, but which airplane went farthest? Does it load for you guys? Oh, awesome. Okay. It's either your first, second, or third. Well, it's loading on my side. I'm certain you guys already answered, and you guys already answered vocally. It was the third, which was awesome. It was very helpful. So we're gonna think back just to see if we were hopefully paying attention to those pairs. So that's the lift, drag, weight, and thrust. And we're gonna see if you can match these up. And let's see who can match them up the quickest. When you are finished matching, if you could put up your thumb, because I don't know if it's gonna show me. You've got it already, MK? Awesome, awesome. Could someone tell me one of the matches?
Gravity pulls the weight of an airplane down, so the heavier your airplane is, the more weight it is bringing it down.
Perfect. Could someone tell me another match?
Your arms are this for our paper airplanes, which is thrust. This is what propels the airplane into the air.
Awesome, you rock. Could someone tell me, MK, could you tell me one too? Your choice.
Yeah, the wings help the airplane rise and hold it in the air. That's the lift.
Perfect. And then the drag, which is just that friction, that pressure of the wind. All right. So I would love to hear anything interesting that you guys learned today. I hope that the biggest takeaway is to remember not to give up with Jabari and with our own past life lessons. We know that sometimes we don't get things right the first time. That's totally okay. The way to achieve is to try and then to try again. But besides that, was there anything cool that you learned that you can either post it or you can speak it? Nice, nice. Yep, you can show all your kids, all the boys in your class how to build some good airplanes now. Um, yeah, it was very fun. I really liked making those airplanes with you guys. Okay, well that is it for homework. I hope you guys can work more on building more paper airplanes because again, Jabari took more than 3 tries. So hopefully you can make one that goes even farther than the one that we made from watching the video. But that is gonna be all. And